Um, okay. Oh, it's recording. I'm going to pause this. I'm going to resume recording now. Hopefully it did not just record the last 10 minutes of me just blathering.
You record now and it didn't before, so.
All right, sweet. All right, welcome to email marketing. I'm titled it From Prospect to Customer. So we're going to be talking about taking people on a journey from being just a prospect to being a loyal customer, hostess, and maybe even your next recruit. And we can do all of that through the magic of email marketing. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jennifer Fultz. I write and design authentic strategic content for fearless women like yourselves running tiny but mighty businesses. I also take really awkward pictures and put them on the internet.
That's a super picture, though.
I do like that one of myself, but I submitted this for a speaker series and everybody else's was super posh and professional and mine's hi. But that's who I am, so
Yeah,
that's going to be how it goes. So there's my contact information. Can you see? Oh, I wonder, does it let me do can you see my arrow moving around at all?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's good. What does pointer do? Oh,
It makes your much.
Ooh.
It's fancy.
It makes a red dot.
You're right.
Ooh, I like that. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about sort of the basics of email marketing today. And the first question that you might be asking is why email marketing? I think there's some myths associated with email marketing that nobody reads email anymore. It's spammy, it's not effective. Everything just ends up in junk mail. But actually, email marketing has several benefits. And if you look at the analytics and the data, it is still the most effective form of digital marketing in terms of how many people are actually opening them, your conversion rate, your engagement rate, all those things are actually still higher for email marketing than any other type of digital marketing. And the reason for that are some of these specific benefits of email marketing. And I will also upload these slides somewhere so you don't have to worry about trying to write down every single thing that I say. So some of the benefits of email marketing is that, number one, it's very direct. It's just a straight path from you to your customer, your potential hostess. It's a direct line from you to your audience. There's no algorithm in the way. There's no news feed curating things to be seen or not seen. It's a straight line from you to them. Along the same lines, email marketing can be targeted in a way that social media often cannot be. So you can, ooh, there's my arrow. I don't know why that happened. It can be targeted. So you can pick certain segments of your audience to get specific messages. So if you want to reach out specifically to your potential hostesses, you can send them a message through email without blasting everybody else in your subscriber list with the same message. And we found that targeted messaging is more effective than just a blanket one-size-fits-all message for people because it makes people feel special. It makes them think, okay, this company or this person is thinking about my specific needs and they've come up with a way to meet those needs. So the targeted nature of email marketing makes it very effective. It's automationable, which is not a word, but I couldn't think of a better one. Email marketing, and you can do this with social media marketing as well, certainly, but you can set up an automated sequence of emails to go out to anyone who subscribes to your list, for example, or you can set an automated sequence to go out to all of your hostesses once they decide to host an event with you, and that can be your hostess coaching process. You can set emails to go out on subscribers' birthdays if you have that information, or on the 1 month, 6 month, 9-month anniversary of their event, just kind of checking in with your hostesses after the fact. So just continuing to build that relationship, but you can automate that so that you're not constantly sitting in front of the computer trying to build those connections. Another really important benefit of email marketing is the ownership that you have over your list. Email marketing is arguably the only form of digital marketing where you have complete ownership of your audience. With social media, like, you know, we've already been seeing this. You know, Mark Zuckerberg wants to change the Facebook algorithm. He can change the Facebook algorithm, and suddenly your audience is gone, or you have to pay a lot of money to reach them. So having an email marketing list, again, because you have their emails, you have a direct targeted way to contact them, and you own that information, so no one can ever take that away from you. And if you want more information about the benefits of email marketing, this article that I'm linking here was really, really helpful. It's a good comparison between the reach and ROI of email marketing versus social media, ROI being return on investment. So if you're a data hound like I am, you can check that article out there. And feel free to stop me if you have any questions. Part 2, we're going to kind of talk about the strategy behind successful email marketing. I really highly recommend working the strategy and the content of your email out before you go into MailChimp or Constant Contact or whatever program that you're using, before you go in there to work out the technical parts of it. At least for me, I found that if I tried to do both of those at the same time, it takes me 3 times as long, and I just get frustrated and angry. So I recommend working out the content and strategy beforehand. So as with any marketing, you really want to work out your goals for your email marketing strategy ahead of time. Because if you don't know what your goals are, you're not going to be able to measure whether it is successful. You're not going to know what steps you need to take to get there. So in direct sales, you can have several different goals. You could be looking for customers. You could be looking for sales. You could be looking for bookings. Or you could be looking for recruits. Now I put sales, bookings, and recruit in parentheses because I encourage you to think of your goals in terms of people rather than transactions. So you may be looking to get more customers, more hostesses, or more team members. I found that with email marketing and just sort of digital marketing in general, if you think of your goals in terms of people, it helps you write your content and write your messaging to speak directly to a person, rather than just trying to get some abstract number to happen in your business. So you first want to think about, all right, I want to do some email marketing. Do I want to get more customers, maybe during Seiko's birthday sale? Do I want to get more hostesses, maybe leading up to each season's booking blitz? Or am I going to be in a season of recruiting and building my team? So think about your goals of your marketing. Okay, what does chat do? Is this being recorded? Hi, Christina. I did not know you were here. I'm sorry. I don't know how to do Zoom. Who is in here? Oh, hello, everybody. I clearly do not know what I am doing. Hi, Christina. Hi, Barb. I didn't know you were here. I'm sorry. Yes, so feel free to ask any questions as I'm going along / rambling as I go through this. So after you define your goals, you want to think about and define who's in your audience and also what do they need. So if your goal is to get more customers or more sales, what does that pool of people need? Well, they need customer care and also the opportunity to upsell different products. They need to know about the features and the benefits of the products that you're selling. They need to know that those things are going to last. They want to know, think about what the customers want to know. If your goal is to get more hostesses, your potential hostesses will need coaching. They will also, not only on the process of how to be a hostess, because I did not know how that worked before I became a fellow. So they'll need coaching on the hosting process, but also, again, on the features and benefits of being a Seiko hostess. And then all of your potential, your sort of potential pool, what do they need? And they need what I call the prospect's journey. I'm going to go into that a little bit more in a later slide. So as you're defining your goals for your marketing strategy, you also want to define who's in your audience and which part of your audience you're targeting, because it's probably not going to be every single person that's ever signed up for your email list. And then what do they need from you? And then the last sort of foundational piece is what I call defining your process. And your process is what bridges the needs of the customer and the goals that you've set for yourself. Ideally, when you have a good, functional, optimal process, as the customer gets their needs met, they are going to help you reach your goals. So as you're meeting the needs of your customer, showing them the benefits and features of your product, giving them the opportunity to host, showing them, the benefits of becoming a fellow, as you're meeting those needs, they are going to help you meet your goals. So if you have that process worked out, that is going to be that's going to be what makes your marketing successful. And when I worked with my business coach just about a year ago, we spent a long time talking about the process. What happens when somebody sends me an email saying, hey, I'm kind of interested in what you do. What do I say? What do I do? And then after I do that, what are they going to do? What am I going to do in response? And then just kind of working through step by step what happens from that initial inquiry all the way to making the sale or making the booking. So kind of thinking through that process is going to be really helpful for you. And I've got some resources to help with that a little bit later on in this presentation. Okay. Any questions so far? I'm kind of just blathering.
No questions. This is awesome though.
Okay. I'm trying to get, oh, there's everybody else. Okay. Hi, everyone. All right. So again, feel free to stop me if you have any questions. Something made a noise that I don't know what it was. That's okay. All right. And then part 3, here's kind of the nuts and bolts of getting set up with email marketing. This part can seem a little bit overwhelming. So again, I very highly recommend that you work on the strategy we talked about in part 2, and also writing the content of your individual emails. Do that separately first before you dive into whatever email program that you're using. I'm going to be demonstrating in MailChimp, MailChimp is pretty popular email marketing service. Small companies, big companies, they all use it. Probably one of the main reasons is because MailChimp has one of the few really robust free programs. I think you can get up to 1,000 subscribers for free. So that's one of the reasons people really like using it. It's a good program. I use it with my clients a lot. It can be a little bit daunting when you jump in all at once. But they have a lot of video tutorials, tutorials and videos, which I've tried to link the relevant ones in here for you. But just take it one step at a time. Don't try to build Rome in a day. That's pretty much a recipe for frustration at any given time. So I will try to go through the demo parts slowly, but for the sake of time, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on the actual MailChimp interface, but I will show you what it looks like. All right, so the first thing, and you can kind of work these in any order, but I'm just going to go through the different components of email marketing. So the first thing is your lists, and please do not be terrified by this image. Your list of subscribers is the people in your audience. It's who you're going to talk to. It's the email addresses you've gotten through you know, maybe at vendor events or past customers who said they want to sign up for your list. I'm trying to move something out of the way, but okay. And in MailChimp, you can actually set up a hierarchy of subscribers, and this is going to be important for that segmentation or targeting piece. So you've got this whole big list of every subscriber that's ever joined your email list. You can break those subscribers into different categories. You're not just limited to 2. I just did 2 for the sake of keeping this diagram relatively simple. And then within each category, you can assign subscribers to different groups. So group 1, group 2, group 3, group 4, whatever that happens to be. And then within each group, you can also break them into different segments. So the segments are a little bit, so the groups you can sort of define on your own. You can define, for example, hostesses, customers, potential fellows, that kind of thing. The segments are defined sort of by MailChimp. So you can segment people based on when they joined your list, for example, or whether or not they opened your last email. So the segments are sort of defined by MailChimp, but they're the most specific. They're more behavior-based, and then the groups are things that you define. So let me show you a more Seiko-specific example. So I would have my whole list of subscribers, and then I would break them into 2 categories. I have people who are active or, you know, sort of past people, and then prospects or future people. So those are my 2 categories. And then within my active category, I've got active customers. That's people who have actually purchased from me in the past and have agreed to subscribe to my email list. And then I also have active hostesses. Again, that's both hostesses that I've already worked with and maybe people who are scheduled to host an event for me. And then over in prospects category, you can have, you know, a similar breakdown. So within the prospects category, maybe I've broken into potential customers. So those are people who have, that's maybe my largest group, people who have signed up, you know, maybe at a vendor event to win a giveaway. I've got their email address, so I'm going to dump them in this bucket here. Then I have my prospects who are prospective hostesses. And those are people who are like, oh, you know, maybe they've signed up specifically saying, I'm kind of interested in an event, but I haven't committed to one yet. And then your prospective fellows, people who have, you know, demonstrated interest in becoming a fellow, but they haven't really, but they want more information, for example. And so you kind of have to, when you get emails from people, you kind of have to be paying attention to their interest level, where they are at. And this is just one way to segment to group, to sort of break up your list. There's a couple of different ways too. If you're very ambitious, or maybe you really want to focus on customer care, for example, if you really, and again, it depends on your goals, right? If you want to get more happy repeat customers and you want to focus on customer care, you could also create groups based on like purchase category. Don't go completely overboard with over segmentation though, because that will drive you crazy pretty quickly. If I were going to break customers down by purchase category, I would just do sandals, apparel, jewelry, and bags, and then maybe send a different customer care sequence to each of those groups depending on what they buy. Because, you know, if I've got someone who's bought sandals, it would be very easy to upsell them, hey, you know, we've got some ribbons and accents on sale, versus, hey, you bought some sandals, would you like to buy this $400 travel bag as well? It's like, it doesn't make as much sense as having a more targeted upsell later on down the line. So this is if your focus is going to be on your customers. Again, don't go crazy with segmentation. Segmentation is good. It's helpful to get that targeted messaging out there. But if you make it too fine-grained, you're just going to make yourself insane. So, and let me show you, maybe not. Let me show you what this looks like in MailChimp. Can you guys still see my screen, the MailChimp screen?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right, sweet. I have too many clients who use MailChimp. I can never figure out what I'm doing. So if you're managing your lists, this is what the MailChimp interface looks like. You'd come over here and into lists. Now I've made 2 lists. This is my actual list down here. I'm not going to mess with that because I don't want to destroy it. So you can make multiple lists as well. So that's maybe another level of organization that you can have. But if I've got my subscriber list and I want to make some groups, so I go to Manage Contacts and click on Groups, and I already made one group called Prospects. So I'm going to, but I'm going to make a different group here. So I'm going to make the category, I'm going to put customers, and then I'm going to make groups of customers for apparel, sandals, handbags, and what's the 4th category, you guys? Jewelry. I know exactly what I'm doing. And okay, done for now. So now I've got these different groups, and if I come in here and let's say I want to add somebody, I want to add a contact to my apparel list, and add a subscriber, you know, I don't know, Jane at iloveseiko.com. Jane Seiko, that's not her name, but and then I can go ahead and choose which of these groups that she's in. So she's under my customers group. She's my active customer. She has bought sandals she bought sandals and a bag, for example. So you can actually add her to two different groups. So if you're sending something out to the handbag group, she'll get that. If you send something out to the sandal group, and this would be great, for example, for birthday sale. So you've got these when you have all these flash sales happening every day, if you have your customers segmented by category like this, and the birthday sale today is going to be, I don't know, T-straps and accents, you can grab the sandal group, shoot them an email real quick. Hey, I know you already purchased some sandals earlier this year. We've got this flash sale going on today. Thought you would want to see it. Boom, your flash sale, your birthday sale marketing is done. What? Oh, apparently I'm being too loud. So I have to be a little more quiet. So you can add people to different lists within your main subscriber list. So I'm going to put this on here.
Jen,
yeah, go ahead.
Would you recommend, because I've been playing around in MailChimp, so do you recommend having them choose their category, or just they sign up to the broad list and then you categorize them however you want?
Yeah, so it kind of depends on how you're getting those emails. If it's your customers, you know what they have purchased, so you can kind of put them in those buckets that way. If it's prospects, you can, let me see if I can go back here. You can set it so that on the sign up form, if they're signing themselves up, you can set it so that they can pick what they're interested in. Send me more information about becoming a fellow, send me more information about hosting, send me promotions, that kind of thing. So you can customize that on the sign up form that you use for your list. So it kind of depends on where you're getting those emails from.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
Okay, cool. And all right, so I'm gonna try to come back here and not destroy all right, sweet. Again, I will post this PowerPoint or Google Slides, whatever this is. I will post this up so you can get to the different links for how to do everything. The next part, that's your lists kind of in a nutshell. The next part is your landing page or your sign up form. So again, this can take a couple different forms, sort of depending on where you're getting your email addresses from. Your landing page is kind of the in-between stage. So you meet people on social media or at a vendor event or at a trunk show. You direct them. Where's my pointer? I want my pointer back. Come back here, pointer. You meet people at social media. You meet people at all these different things, and then you direct them to your landing page. And then from your landing page, they can subscribe to your email list. So, and again, if you're at a vendor event and you don't have technology there with you, you just have a sign-up sheet the old-fashioned way, and you add them to your email list later on. But if you've got technology available, or you're directing people virtually, you can create a landing page in MailChimp. It's pretty simple. Let me try to show you what it looks like.
I didn't know that MailChimp had a landing page. Like, I kind of thought I had to have like a blog set up to have a landing page. So that's like really awesome.
I think the landing page thing might be a newer feature. So when you're in MailChimp, you go over to campaigns, you create a campaign and create a landing page.
What? That's so
Yep.
awesome. And
then you can stick them into whatever list you want them to go to. So I'm just gonna call this Seiko landing page. And this is very similar to what you use to design individual emails as well. So it looks like that. So you can put your logo, the Seiko logo, you can put your headline, sign up for my VIP list. I will give you cool things. I won't spam you. Please take more time to write better things than what I'm doing right now.
It's
effective. And then for the email form, I think you may have to go into the individual list to modify the form that they get. But, okay. If you want to keep it simple, all you need is their email address. Hold on, let me try to move this thing around here. Form labels. Yeah, I think you'll have to find out form content blocks. I think you would have to go to the individual list to customize the forms that you can put on here.
Right. Add like birthday, whatever.
Yeah, so you can add different fields for that. But this is a landing page at its simplest. It looks like this. You can send the link to people. You can put the link on your social media, on your Facebook page. MailChimp, I think, has some kind of integration with Facebook pages. At least it did a year or two ago. I don't know if it still works or not. But you could actually have a landing page within your Facebook page, like in the little tabs that they have on the top. You can like make a landing page on there as well, or a sign up form.
I think they do, because it asked me if I wanted to connect to that, but I haven't looked to see if it worked or not.
Yeah, but this will give you a sort of standalone landing page, and you can put it into Bitly and get like a short URL for it as well, so you can add that to your social media profiles very easily. So that's your landing page. So you got your list, you got your landing page, and then the last part, which we're probably going to spend the most time on, I have no idea how long this thing has been going, so if you need to duck out, it's okay. The last part that will probably take you the most time is actually writing out your email sequences, the content that you're going to send to people. I have a link here for how to make an automation in MailChimp. It's not very difficult. Like I said, writing the content is probably going to take the most time. I wanted to walk through a couple different sequences, because again, I called this whole training the journey from prospect to customer. So the thing about email is that it happens in times. You can it happens in a sequence. So you could send one thing today, and then another thing 3 days later, and another thing 4 days later, whatever. And that person will receive those in order. With social media marketing, it's like I could surf onto your profile at any time and see some random post from 5 weeks ago, and I'd be like, oh, that's cool. But it's harder to like keep a sequence with social media. But with email marketing, you can have automated sequences. So couple things about email sequences. The first thing you want to do is to train subscribers to open your emails. Now, I know we were talking about one of the myths about email marketing is that nobody opens emails. And if you think about how many emails you get and how many versus how many you open, there is a little bit of truth to that. But all you have to do is you have to train your subscribers to open your emails. I'm on a couple lists that I will open every single one because I have learned that they have valuable content for me. So all subject lines matter. Writing good subject lines is definitely important for getting people to open those emails. You want to preview what the email is going to be about, and also be interesting enough to get them to open it. My suggestion, when you're doing a sequence, keep the first 1 to 2 emails short, very to the point, and very focused on the reader. What do they need? What are they looking for? Not so much, look at me, I am a Seiko fellow and I do all these things and blah, 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 blah. Like focus on the reader, what they need, what they are looking for. You can also use what are called merge tags to personalize messages. So if you've ever gotten an email newsletter that says, Dear Kara, here's what I've been up to, blah, 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 blah. The merge tag is how you get that Dear Kara, Dear Barb, Dear Christina, how you get that customized first name in there. And that's a feature you can use in MailChimp as well. The other thing in general with all marketing, write like a person and write to a person. That's I think one of the hardest things to do because that's kind of scary. It's kind of vulnerable, right? Like think of it, don't think of it as marketing. Don't think of it as social media. Think of it as literally sitting down and typing an email to one individual person. Mm-hmm. Because it's going to read that way. You can always tell like which of the emails that I open, that's the ones that talk to me, versus just throwing a bunch of images and sales and promotions at me. So that's one way to get your subscribers to open your emails. Because again, once you open 1 or 2 from the same person, your brain sort of triggers the next time you see one, like, oh, I remember, one, I know who they are. 2, I remember what they do. 3, I care about what they have to say, so I'm going to open the next one. With your email sequences, you could take a journey, tell a story, paint a picture. I say all of those to encourage you to share one piece at a time. I think we have a tendency to be like, look at all these things that Seiko does, and like list this humongous message. But you have time, right? You can send one message today and then another message in 3 or 4 days and then another message next week. You have time to share one piece at a time. Like I said, you're taking them on a journey. They may not be ready to hear about becoming a fellow. Like, I just met you, I don't want to join your team. And so you want to help them through that journey at a pace that makes sense for them. And you want to leave them wanting more. So again, they are encouraged to click on that next message. Other general tip, be consistent, not annoying. Space your emails out. There's a couple blogs, if I want to download something from the blog and they add me to their email list, which is fine. I understand that's how they work, but man, they send me like 4 emails the first day and I'm like, okay, like, slow your roll. That's a little aggressive. So space your emails out. I personally don't send more than 2 a week. Even in my 2 or 3, I think, even in my welcome sequence, just because like, I don't have time to read 4 messages every day. I'm lucky if I get through like my actual personal talking to people emails, much less my email any of the marketing lists that I'm subscribed to. You'll want to recap your last message, but don't repeat it word for word. Have some variation in your ask. So it's okay to ask for things in your emails, but don't ask them to buy something every time. Don't ask them to host every time. Your ask could be as simple as hit reply and tell me what you think of XYZ. And again, the email list that I am the biggest fan of, I've actually hit reply, and the owner, that blogger, that influencer has responded back. And so again, email can seem impersonal, but the most successful people doing it are the ones who still keep it very personal. And speaking of asks, you have to earn the right to ask. You want to provide value to your reader first. Give them something that they need. Give them something that they can use before you ask them to spend more money, before you ask to go into their house and have a party. So you have to earn that. And then I would say, as you're going through your email sequences, automated sequences are very helpful, but I would say, especially if you're asking hostesses or people to join your team, I would do that personally. I would not make that part of an automated sequence, just because hopefully by that point you've built enough of a relationship with that person that you can just have that conversation, right, and not have it be like a robot conversation. So those are some general tips for email sequences. I'm going to go through a couple different examples. And again, I've got worksheets for this on my website that you can use to kind of help you plan out your own sequences. So the first one I'm going to talk about is sort of the broadest one. It's the prospect's journey, I would send this as a welcome sequence. So any Jane Doe who meets you at a booth and wants to sign up for your email list to learn more about Seiko, this is what I would send them. And for prospects, I always assume that they know nothing. Like, they will see me at an event and maybe they'll remember the cool sandals, but I assume that they remember and know nothing. Because there's different stages of awareness in the prospect's journey, and you don't want to assume that somebody already knows lots of different things about Seiko. They may not. They may be starting from square one. So the first sort of stage of awareness is people who are unaware. So that first email, I introduce myself, I remind them how they got on my list, so they're not like, who is this person? I don't want to talk to you. And some of them will probably still unsubscribe, especially, I don't know, I have mixed feelings about sign up with your email to enter a giveaway type thing. It can kind of work, but the conversion on that's not always fantastic, because people just want the free thing and then they don't care about what you have to say. But so if you've got somebody who's starting off, your first email, you assume that they are unaware. They don't remember what Seiko is. They don't quite remember who you are. So you want to remind them kind of who you are and what you're doing, and just sort of setting the expectations for what this relationship, because really what you are building is building a relationship, what this is going to be like. So after that, they become you want to help them become problem aware, right? Because if you're like, look, these sandals do all these cool things, and the person's like, I don't care about education, then they're not going to be a great fit for you. So you want to identify a problem that Seiko solves. And then you help make them aware of what that problem is. You talk about how you kind of learned about it, or maybe how that problem is relevant in your own life, and ask about if it's relevant in theirs. So the second stage is problem awareness. They know there's a problem. So then what are you going to do? And the next stage is solution awareness. Then you discuss, so in your third email, you discuss the different solutions that Seiko provides for the problem you talked about back here. And the good news is that's good and bad, I guess. Good and bad news. Seiko's business model solves a lot of different problems, both for our employees in East Africa and for ourselves here in the United States. So I highly suggest that you pick one or two that are very relevant to you, that tie into your why, to talk about here in this welcome sequence. So you've got there. So now they went from totally unaware, totally clueless. Then they were aware of the problem. Then you've made them aware of the possible solutions. Then maybe back up a little bit and think about the objections that they might have. And I think there's an objection training in Connect somewhere. I'll have to see if I can link that on here. And the way that you can address that, I call this one the Mythbusters email. So I like to do either frequently asked questions or common misconceptions about XYZ topic. Share some frequently asked questions about the products, hosting an event, or being a fellow. Again, that kind of depends on what your initial goal for your email marketing campaign is. If you're wanting to get more hostesses, share some of the questions or objections that people have to hosting. You could say like, well, I don't have a lot of room in my house right now. Okay, then that's okay. We have options for virtual trunk shows. Or if someone is thinking about becoming a fellow, but they don't have a lot of money to invest right now. Okay, and so you want to hear that objection. You want to acknowledge that objection, and then again, sort of offer the ways that Seiko addresses that objection. So once they're aware of the problem and the possible solutions and the objections that could be raised, you get to opportunity aware. When they're aware of they're now aware of all these things, now you can tell them about the opportunity. Again, that's the opportunity to buy, the opportunity to host, the opportunity to join the program, any of those things. And again, it kind of depends on what your sequence is going to be about. And then finally, just as sort of a recap over the whole thing, you would think the opportunity is the ending, but it's not. You can actually come back and recap the benefits. So we've been talking a lot up here about, like, I guess you would say, like, the features of Seiko. What do we do? And then the benefits, the very last one is, great, here's all these things that Seiko does. Now here's what Seiko can do for you. So share different ways that wearing products or hosting an event or becoming a fellow can benefit the reader. So again, kind of taking it back to what they're looking for and what they need. So I kind of blew through that really quickly. That was the welcome sequence. Again, I've got a worksheet on my website that you can use to help plot through this. Any questions before I keep plowing forward?
No, that's really helpful. So you said that, like, your first couple emails are pretty short. So once you start after, like, the problem aware, they start getting longer.
Yeah, these will start to get a little bit longer, but still keeping it to the point. Although I've gotten some newsletter emails that are really, really long, and I read them because they're over here in the opportunity and benefit space. Like, I'm already committed to this person. Yeah. So I'm reading, so I'm used to reading their stuff, so that by the time they start sending me these big long messages, I'm like, okay, like, I know you, I trust that what you're saying is important, so I'm going to read through this whole message. I would not send War and Peace in the first 2 or 3 messages.
Yes.
So that's the prospect's journey. That's probably the most general one that you can take people through. The other one, and I shared a couple resources on this, I don't know, last fall, I think. I'll have to find those again and relink them. But you can also do a customer care sequence. By the way, pick one of these to do when you start. Do not try to do all of them. Pick one to work with, and then as you have more success with that, you can do the other one. So the next sequence you can do is a customer care sequence. That's the customer's journey. So you start out very focused on them. You send an email thanking, and this could actually be a couple emails as well, just depending on timing. Thank them for their order, let them know that their order has shipped. Yes, they get the automatic ones, but it's nice to have someone personally checking in on you. Quality control and troubleshooting. I think that's an important one to send. And if you want to automate this, you subscribe them to your list after they make a purchase. And then maybe set like 4 or 5 days after that, you send that quality control email like, hey, have you received your product yet? Does everything look good? And kind of, that's also a chance to remind them that like these are handmade products. You're getting something that was made by a person who gets breaks, who gets, who gets time for lunch and breakfast. Like, so these are made by people. So we want to make sure that they're high quality. So then from care, you can move into adding value to the customer. So we're not asking them to buy something else yet. After you sort of make sure that their order is okay, you can send them care instructions for their product. And again, this is where if you've got your customers divided into apparel, jewelry, shoes, handbags, you can send one set of care instructions for the leather bags and one set for the jewelry and one set for the apparel. You can send the care instructions. If you have the bandwidth to make like a Pinterest board of different styling ideas, you can send the same board to every single person. Which will actually probably lead into the next stage. But like, hey, I hope you like your multi-way shawl. I've got some great ways to style it here on my Pinterest board or on this video that Tirza on our team has a really good video of the multi-way shawl. So just linking to those resources as a way to add value to what this person just purchased. And after you have done that, that's when you can start thinking about the upsell. And so maybe even a month after they've gotten their product, they've had a chance to wear it and style it and do all these things, that's when you can suggest, hey, you got this zippered wallet, I hope you're loving it. Don't forget, we've got this wristlet piece that you can use to add functionality to your product. Or, you got this bucket bag, I hope you love it. If you need help, if you need help organizing it, here's our little moon clutches and the matching color, that sort of thing. And so you go from care. So you're caring for your customer, then you add value for them, and then after you do all of this, that's when you've earned the right to ask for a further sale. Then after that, and depending on how engaged they are throughout the first 3 sort of stages up here, that's when I would ask, after all of that, depending on how they engage, that's when I would ask for a hostess. And that one I would I would not do that one as an automated message. I would do that one as a personalized email, text, Facebook message, whatever way you have been communicating with them. And same thing with the recruit. If you've got some hostesses, or even, or customers, if you've got hostesses and customers who have stayed engaged with you this whole time, maybe they've bought multiple things, maybe they hosted an event that was really, really successful, that's when I would ask for the recruiting. And again, both of these big asks down here at the bottom, I would make those highly personalized versus an automated message. Oops, come back. So that's customer care. That's the customer's journey. Let's see what I'm doing on time here. And then the last sort of journey that I'm thinking you could take people through is hostess coaching. So there's already a really good hostess coaching training available on Connect that uses Facebook groups group. I think it's a group. And you can set that, and you can use tools like Post My Party to automate that as well, but you can also do it through email. I'm a little bit less well-versed with this one. But, again, kind of thinking and this goes back to that whole process thing, like what are the steps you need to take? What do you need to do? What does your hostess need to do to make this event a success? So you can send emails to kind of walk them through. I'm just going to click all these out here to walk them through all the different stages of preparing for an event. So, the first email you send out there is going to be setting goals with your hostess. How many sales does she want to get? What products does she want to earn? Starting from there, then you send another email a few days later, kind of giving her guidance on how to make her guest list and write a personal message to send to all of her guests 2 days after that. And this is all just sample timing here. But maybe a day or 2 later, you would remind her to invite her core group of women. 2 days after that, invite the other guests. Then once you start your pre-party post, you send her just a quick reminder to interact with those posts and also to message the other guests. So this is, again, just automating this so you're not having to think quite so hard about all of these different steps for hostess coaching. Again, there's a much more detailed hostess coaching training in Connect, which I will try to find and link to this PowerPoint before I post it. So those are just 3 different kinds of sequences that you can send. There's many more that I'm sure there's many others you could think of. And then there's also newsletters and one-time campaigns. So this is how you would send your monthly newsletters, and that's going to look different each month. So it's different from an automated campaign. Just a couple tips about sending newsletters and special updates. Map a long-term strategy. If you can, think about when you're going to have season launches, big sales. The good news, now that we're a couple years into the Fellows program, those of you who joined later than I did and didn't have to just make it up as we went along, we now kind of have a rhythm to our yearly Seiko calendar, so we know approximately when we're going to launch new seasons. When, birthday sale is every year in July. That's never going to change. Holiday doesn't change because it's holiday. 10 ways, I don't know, Christina, has 10 ways, 10 days ever not been in June? I think it's always been in June. So just if you can, think ahead to sort of what big things are going to be coming up, both in your own life. If you want to hold a sample sale, for example, kind of think about when you want that to happen, and also campaigns from Seiko HQ. You'll want to create a template for your regular newsletters. Just templates are good. They save lots of time. One thing to remember when you're designing your newsletters, put material in for people at different stages of the journey. So again, different stages of awareness. Maybe a little bit each month to remind people of the problem Seiko solves, and then you talk about the solution. So just keeping in mind that not everybody's ready to become a fellow immediately. So just having things in there for people at different stages. Keep it simple, keep it readable. So for my writing business, my newsletters, I don't have any images because I'm a writer, I'm not a photographer. I think for Seiko, it's okay to include imagery of products or lifestyle images, that sort of thing. But focus on the content, focus on the written content, and not as much. I personally would not obsess over the visuals of it. But I think for Seiko, just because of the nature of the company, it's fine to have product images in there. And keep your messages valuable. Don't send I would not send a quote unquote special update every month, because then it's not really special anymore. So think about what you're going to put in your monthly newsletters, and then what sort of information you're going to send a special update on. So if your soul sister hits her badge goal in the middle of the month, is that something you're going to send a special blast out for, or are you going to save that for your monthly newsletter? Obviously flash sales, because they're time sensitive in nature, that's probably something you would send a special update about. But if you know that birthday sale's coming up, the month before, again, and that's when mapping out your long-term strategy is really helpful. If you know birthday sales coming up next month, in the previous month's newsletter, you can start teasing that and letting them know that that's coming their way. Same principle, don't overdo the asking. You want to offer more than you ask, as a general rule of thumb. You can also try experimenting with sending to different segments of your list, either sending to them first or sending to them only. So that's just something that you can play around with. If you've got a message for everybody, like a sale, you could try sending to, your potential hostesses first, see what kind of response you get from them, and then send to the rest of your group. That's something you can play with as well. Any questions so far? We're coming up here on the end. For more resources, you can go to my website. I have not added the link to this presentation yet, but I will. My website is a-mama.com/email-marketing. And the password is Covfefe because I could not think of any other word at the time.
That's awesome.
Oh, that's also what we call my toddler because we're wonderful parents.
I think my husband would agree with that password.
And so there we are, taking customers on a journey with email marketing. Any questions? I think I threw a lot at you all at once.
How much do you charge to write the emails for us?
Well, I actually haven't thought about that part yet. Hey, wait a minute. Does Darius have a job yet? You're not paying me anything.
Hopefully he starts next week somewhere.
Really? So the interview went well?
Yes.
All right. Okay, I will try to stay on task for like a couple more minutes. The resource page, I've got an email marketing setup checklist, a worksheet for your welcome sequence, and a flow chart for your customer care sequence. And this is just going to depend on what your different goals are. So all those are on there. They're free to download. And I will also add a link to the slides from there. So I'm going to stop recording so I can just chat with you guys.